Hi everybody, it's Kristin. So I am bringing to you the famed peanut butter cookie recipe. This is a recipe that was given to my mother from my grandmother and then from my mother to me. So I'm going to share it with you today. This recipe, I have a couple of friends that call it peanut butter sugar cookie hybrid. So I'm going to name this title something like that. I just simply have peanut butter cookies on my recipe card. But I'm going to give it some sort of fun name, which you will have already seen in the title. So anyway, let's just get going. So I use a KitchenAid now. You don't need to use a KitchenAid. This is the attachment that I use. Hopefully you can see that. The camera's so far away, I can't see what you can see. And for your first, you can mix this with your hand. You can use it with a hand mixer, whatever floats your boat. So you are going to put, of course you have washed your hands before you started doing this, which I have. And then you're going to put a stick of butter in there. I'm going to throw it in my garbage, just conveniently located. And then you're going to put a half a cup of white sugar. And I'm sorry that I don't know the other measurements, but maybe I'll try to convert them for Aggie. And then a half a cup of brown sugar. And then you want to just cream those together. So that is the consistency that you're looking for. Okay, so now that you have that creamed together, I'm doing my best to stop and show you what it looks like, and I don't have a camera crew. Okay, so now you're going to add in 1 egg. Also my garbage. And a tablespoon of milk. And mix it again. Okay, so now that you have your milk and your egg in there, you're going to put in a half a cup of peanut butter. And this, in case anybody is curious, is just a little Pampered Chef. I don't even remember what it's called. Mixing something, I don't know. Anyway, so I just have it pre-measured in there. So you don't have to deal with it sticking all over the place. And let that mix up. And I will stop partway through and scrub the sides of the scrub. I'm not scrubbing. I am scraping the sides of this, just to make sure everything's getting mixed well. Okay, now that I'm happy with the way that is mixed, I have 1.5 cups of flour in this bowl. And in here I have a half a teaspoon of baking soda, peanut butter on my finger, a half a teaspoon of salt, and a half a teaspoon of baking powder. So both powder, soda, and then salt. And I just have those kind of mixed up in here and put that in here. And I don't use a sifter. I think a lot of people use the sifter. I just take a fork to make sure that it's pretty well blended in there before I dump it into the wet part. Ooh, flour all over the place. And then I usually add half-ish, half over the side, Again, I'm going to stop and scrape and just make sure that everything gets combined well. Okay, so that is all that there is to the batter. I'm going to show you quickly what it looks like. Okay, so at this point you can preheat your oven. You want to preheat your oven to 325. And then I have put out here a piece of wax paper. And let me see if I can turn this so not so obnoxious. Okay. And then I have 2 cookie sheets here. These, I swear to you, are clean. This is what they in the business call seasoned. These are Fabberware ones that I have enjoyed for many years. So you want to have I use 2 at a time. You can use 1, whatever works for you. So that's what you're gonna need for this step. And what I like to do these all at one time. It's up to you, but I also, this is from Pampered Chef, and it's the small scoop. They have 3 sizes, but you could use anything. The reason that I use this is because I like my cookies to be all the same size for 2 reasons. 1, they look nicer, and 2, then they will cook at the same pace. Know what I'm saying? Same size, cook at the same pace. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to take my rings off. And I'm going to first scoop all of these into balls, and then I will form them into balls. So I will show you that as we go here. Okay, so now I have, as you can see, made them all into balls. And this, I forgot to mention at the beginning, will make 3 dozen cookies for you. And you can, I put them in rows of 6 just because all of this is some of my OCD-ness, but this is just how it works for me. So the first thing I do, like I said, we'll put them all into balls, and I find it to be the most efficient way as well. And then I will just take the balls and roll them like this. And then what you want to do is drop them. I have sugar over here. So you want to drop them into the sugar and just roll them around. And then you're going to put this on an ungreased cookie sheet. Trust me, you do not want to grease the cookie sheet, because it will burn the bottom of your cookies in a quick minute. So what you want to do, so again, just roll it in your hand like this, drop it in the sugar, roll it around in the sugar, and place it on your cookie sheet. Now I put 12 on a cookie sheet because I don't want them to crowd each other for the next step, and I will show you that in a minute. Okay, so the final step to this before you put them in the oven is the thing that makes them a peanut butter cookie, aside from the peanut butter. And that is, and I know that my head is cut off, so I'm sorry, but I want to make sure you guys can actually see this. Not that it's rocket science, and I'm sure 80% of you know how to do this, but just in case there's somebody who doesn't. Take a fork, and I always use a dinner fork so I have the longest tines possible, and you just go one way, and then you go the other way. And that, my friends, is what makes a peanut butter cookie a peanut butter cookie. And I will give you a shot of these just before I put them in the oven. Okay, so this is what they look like before they go into the oven. Okay, so into the oven they go for 10 minutes for my oven. Every oven is different, and every house that I've lived in, I've done a different time. So my suggestion is always to start with at like 8 minutes and check it and see how your oven is baking the cookies. You guys know your ovens better than I do, obviously, since I only use my own. So stick them in there for 10 minutes, or excuse me, for 8 minutes, check them, and then kind of go, in minute increments after that until you find the perfect time for these particular cookies for your oven. Okay, so I have taken them out of the oven. I usually let them cool on the cookie sheet for 3 minutes before I move them from the cookie sheet to my cooling rack, which you can see that I have here. And then usually by the time that the next batch is done, I can just stack these ones up because they're cool enough. And that is that. Not much more to it than that. Now I promised to talk about how I freeze cookies, because I'm actually making cookies for youth gatherings in a couple of weeks. But because it makes money, I need to make sure that I have time to do it. So how I freeze them is I will put them in freezer quart or freezer gallon bags, but then I also put them in some sort of a Rubbermaid or Tupperware container. I just like to make sure that they are extra protected. But it is really important to use a freezer Ziploc bag, not just any old Ziploc bag. Part of what I do for a living lends me to have some knowledge in that. So trust me when I tell you, you want to make sure that you use the freezer bag, because there is a difference in the material that they're made out of. So if you have any questions on this, please feel free to leave them below. Let me know how you guys like this more sort of baking, if you want me to do something like that. Again, Christmas is coming up. I have lots of Christmas recipes that I could share. I might even share how I cook my Thanksgiving turkey, because mine is always moist. It's never dry. I never have any complaints. So maybe you're interested in seeing that. So let me know all that kind of stuff below. Thank you so much for watching, and I will talk to you very soon. Bye!